Imagine floating on a calm ocean. You close your eyes, feeling perfectly still. But when you open them, the shore is gone. You've drifted miles out to sea without realizing it. That is exactly how we lose our relationship with God. Today, we're exposing 5 quiet habits that are pulling you away and how to anchor yourself before you drift too far.
The first habit is our modern-day ritual of the scroll. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, you reach for your phone. You check notifications, emails, or social media. You tell yourself you'll pray and read your Bible right after, but by the time you're done scrolling, you're late for work. We don't mean to crowd God out. We just put him on the back burner for a few minutes. But those minutes turn into hours, and those hours turn into days. Look at King Solomon. He didn't start his reign by abandoning God. In fact, he built God's glorious temple. But Solomon had a habit of making small concessions, marrying foreign princesses for political alliances, gradually allowing pagan altars into the kingdom. It wasn't an overnight collapse. It was a slow, daily accommodation of distractions that eventually broke his heart away from God.
The second habit is like treating God like a cosmic 911 dispatcher. You only call him when the engine light comes on, when the bank account hits zero, or when a relationship is breaking down. When life is smooth, your prayer life goes silent. This habit quietly builds a mindset that says, "I've got this." You rely on your intellect, your paycheck, and your talent. Think about King Uzziah in the Old Testament. He started out doing what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and God gave him tremendous success. But the Bible notes a tragic turning point in his life. 2 Chronicles 26:16 says, "But when he was strong, he grew proud to his destruction." He became so self-sufficient that he thought he didn't need to follow God's order anymore. John 15:5 says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." The moment we think we can handle life on our own is the exact moment we begin to pull away from the vine.
We live in a world overflowing with content. The third habit is the careless consumption of media, music, and conversations that mock or ignore God's truth. We often justify it by saying, "It's just entertainment. It doesn't affect me." But spiritual erosion is real. If you pour a drop of dirty water into a glass of clean water every single day, eventually the whole glass becomes clouded. If your mind is constantly fed on cynicism, lust, gossip, and vanity, your appetite for the things of God will naturally fade. Consider Samson. His downfall wasn't a sudden loss of strength. It was his habit of flirting with compromise. He kept walking into the territory of his enemies, playing games with his Nazirite vows, and trusting Delilah. He thought he was too strong to be affected, until the day he woke up and realized the Lord had left him. Proverbs 4:23. "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." What you feed grows, and what you starve dies. If you feed your flesh and starve your spirit, you will naturally pull away from God.
Habit number 4, avoiding silence. When is the last time you sat in complete silence? No music, no podcast, no TV in the background, just silence. We live in a world that is terrified of quiet. We fill every gap, every car ride, every meal, every spare moment with noise. And while none of those things are bad on their own, the habit of never being still is spiritually dangerous. Because God often speaks in the quiet. 1 Kings 19:12 describes his voice not as a great wind or an earthquake or a fire, but as a still, small voice. If your life has no silence, you will miss him. And over time, you'll stop expecting to hear him at all. Practice stillness. Even 10 minutes a day of sitting before God,
not asking, not talking, just listening, can completely change your spiritual sensitivity. Habit number 5, consuming more than you're creating in the spirit. There is a difference between passively listening to worship music and actually worshiping. There is a difference between watching someone else's sermon and personally studying the Word. There is a difference between liking Christian posts on Instagram and actually living out your faith. We have access to more Christian content than any generation in history. Podcasts, YouTube, devotionals, reels, and that is a blessing. But consumption without personal pursuit creates a shallow faith. James 1:22 says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says." Your relationship with God is not a spectator sport. It requires personal time, personal prayer, personal surrender. You cannot outsource your intimacy with God to someone else's highlight reel. Make time to create in the Spirit. Journal, pray out loud, fast, worship in private. The beauty of drifting is that the moment you realize you're far from shore, you can choose to turn the boat around. God isn't hiding from you. He is waiting for you. Let's lift each other up. Lean on your Christian brothers and sisters in the replies. We're in this walk together. And don't forget to like and subscribe.